Have you ever wondered what a 600-year-old empire and a brand new tech startup have in common? It sounds like the setup for a strange joke, but the answer might just hold the key to success or failure. Today, we're diving into the dramatic fall of the Ottoman Empire and uncovering the surprisingly relevant lessons it offers for anyone trying to build something that lasts in the 21st century. For over 6 centuries, the Ottoman Empire was a global powerhouse. From its stunning capture of Constantinople in 1453 to its peak under Suleiman the Magnificent, it was a hub of innovation, culture, and military might. It controlled vast territories, dominated trade routes, and its influence was felt across 3 continents. At its zenith, it seemed invincible, like one of today's tech giants that we can't imagine living without. But as we know, even the mightiest can fall, and the reasons why are fascinating. One of the first major cracks in the Ottoman foundation was a failure to adapt. In its golden age, the empire was a leader in military technology. Their use of cannons and gunpowder was revolutionary. But as Europe raced ahead with the Industrial Revolution, the Ottomans fell behind. They were slow to embrace new technologies, new manufacturing methods, and new military strategies. They held on to traditional practices long after they became obsolete. Does this sound familiar? Think of a startup that gets early success with one great product but refuses to innovate. They get comfortable. They think, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. But in the business world, standing still is the same as moving backward. Your competitors are constantly evolving, and if you're not adapting to new technologies, new market demands, and new ways of working, you're setting yourself up to become a relic. The lesson here is clear. Never stop innovating. Complacency is the silent killer of both empires and companies. Next, let's talk about internal issues. The Ottoman Empire became plagued by what we might call bad management. The Janissaries, once the elite fighting force of the Sultan, became a powerful political group, more interested in their own privileges than in defending the empire. They resisted reforms, staged coups, and drained the state's resources. In the corporate world, this is like having a department or a group of legacy employees who resist every change. They create a toxic culture, stifle new ideas, and prioritize their own comfort over the company's growth. A successful startup needs a unified team, all pulling in the same direction. When internal factions and self-interest take over, the entire structure becomes weak and vulnerable. You have to build a culture where the mission comes first, not personal agendas. Another critical factor was economic mismanagement. The Ottomans once controlled the lucrative trade routes between East and West. But when European explorers like Vasco da Gama found new sea routes around Africa, they bypassed the Ottoman middlemen. This was a massive blow to the empire's economy. Instead of finding new economic engines, the empire took on massive amounts of debt from European banks, essentially losing its financial independence. This is a classic startup trap. You might have a great initial revenue stream, but what happens when the market shifts? What happens when a competitor disrupts your model? You can't just rely on your initial success. You need to diversify your revenue, manage your finances wisely, and avoid getting so deep in debt that your investors or creditors are the ones calling the shots. Financial sovereignty is just as important for a startup as it is for an empire. If you lose control of your finances, you lose control of your destiny. Now, let's connect this to the concept of a founder's trap. The early Ottoman sultans were brilliant leaders, warriors, administrators, and visionaries. They built the empire from the ground up. But later generations of rulers were often less capable. They grew up in the insulated luxury of the palace, disconnected from the realities of governing. This is a huge risk for startups. A charismatic, brilliant founder can get a company off the ground, but the company can't rely on that one person forever. You have to build systems, processes, and a strong leadership team that can function even without the founder's direct involvement. The goal is to build an institution, not just a personal project. A company that is built to last must be able to outlive its founders' direct control. It needs a culture of leadership and competence that runs throughout the organization. So, what are the key takeaways for a modern entrepreneur? First, embrace change. Constantly scan the horizon for new technologies and new trends. Don't be the empire that sticks with swords when everyone else has guns. Be relentlessly adaptive. Second, build a strong, unified culture. Root out internal politics and make sure everyone is aligned with the company's mission. Your team's cohesion is your greatest strength. Third, manage your money wisely. Diversify your income, control your spending, and don't cede your financial independence to anyone. Be the master of your own economic fate. And finally, build for the long term. Create systems and empower your team so the company's success doesn't depend on just one person. Build an organization that is bigger than its founder. The fall of the Ottoman Empire wasn't a single event. It was a slow decline caused by a failure to adapt, internal decay, and economic short-sightedness. It's a powerful historical case study that reminds us that no matter how big or successful you are, you're never immune to disruption. By learning from the mistakes of the past, we can hopefully build businesses and organizations that are more resilient, more innovative, and truly built to last. What do you think? Are there other lessons from history that apply to the modern business world? Let me know in the comments below. I'd love to hear your thoughts. Thanks so much for watching. If you found this interesting, please hit that like button and subscribe for more content that connects the past to our present. See you in the next video.